I got into it with my brother while on the drill. We got into it for real. I'm trying to make sure the shit go right tonight, but bro, 2 days to the kill.
Well, Gray Christie, 32 victims are finally getting justice tonight. The youngest, only 16 years old.
They got my back, game label me a menace when I jumped out at that light. Feel like nah, still here with me, buddy, in the afterlife. I know that we still connected, people say we act alike. Need a pistol in my hand when they come out, I just get hyped. Had to cut my dog off, the blues came and he gave clues. No.
Deadly shooting in South Philadelphia. A man and a woman have been shot. The man has been killed. This happened just after midnight along Winton Terrace off of 76.
Y'all can diss if y'all want, y'all gonna regret that shit. We got guns the whole 50, y'all can bet that shit. Try to slide through the south, we gonna wet that shit.
Investigators say this is the suspect that they are trying to identify. He's seen on the front porch of a house when those shots were fired on the 1500 block of South Edding Street back on July 7th. Police say 3 people were killed and 10 others were injured in the shooting.
And a homicide. Police say many of the suspects were already in custody after being indicted last year.
The continued investigations of those initial shootings, which were committed and back and forth retaliation, revealed other targeted shootings.
We learned police made 2 arrests in connection with the murder of Aquil Foster here on the 600 block of Rittner Street in June of 2022.
Need a sign, need my pistols turning yellow from the red. I be trying to get that feeling back when local dotted jazz. Back when Honcho wasn't live, back when Quilly wasn't dead. Back when niggas still was slime. Sorry, but I had to say it. This a message to the killers. I could grab whatever without looking at the price. Shit, I made the trenches praise me. I told Umi she can't save me. Clutching like somebody paid me, and this freeload so go crazy. Switching.
The conflict in South Philadelphia between 27th Street / Wilson Park and the 31st Street Tasker projects escalated sharply in late 2017 when the people from Tasker, including Muji and Lid, caught 17-year-old Nasir Livingston inside a Chinese takeout. This escalated a wave of get-backs in succession, including an August 2018 triple shooting allegedly by Tasker and the October 2018 gas station murder of 15-year-old Rasul Benson. So far we have a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old caught up in this nonsense. Around 2020, a highly skilled rapper from West Philly, Leaf Ward, suddenly found himself rapping about one of the most destructive and most harmful things to the community we call home, a street war between young teens and adults that are holding communities hostage and have been for decades. Also from Tasker Projects, or the Grays Ferry Estates is what the city renamed them, are the sons of 2 of Philadelphia's most recognizable names in rap, Beanie Sigel's son, YD, and Oskino's son, who I just mentioned, Muji, would all become major parts of this tragic story.
They call that boy flipping backwards. Not really, that's how I happened. Not really, that's how I was. I'm from the 7, I ride with them guns.
He got smoked inside the chinks, now that's a hot box.
Bitch, you got smoked inside that chinks, that's a hot box. They say what's some bird, I watch how me change their mindset. I'm a nigga that stomp right on your steppers real quick.
Drill music served as a scorecard during this time. Songs like King Lord's Trauma and Paris's Valuable Moment documented the grief and pain, while Teddy 2 Sev and YD mocked deceased rivals. A March 2019 grand jury sweep temporarily disrupted the violence, but the spinning surged again in March of 2020 with the back-to-back killings of Quill the Bully, King Lord, followed closely by the July 2020 laundromat broad day murder of a main target for 27th Street, Shawn Best, or Bug, some people called him SB. The conflict morphed into clicking up that has become a norm now on the streets, with alliance involving groups like YBC, CCK, Descenders, and the Close Range Gang, or CRG, or the 56th Street Senders. Drill music served as a scorecard during this time. Songs like King Lord's Trauma and Paris's Valuable Moment documented the grief and the pain, while Teddy 2 Sev and YD mocked deceased rivals. Well, they kinda all did. A March 2019 grand jury sweep temporarily disrupted the violence. The Senders heavily relied on shock value for their ops, and they employed crash outs like Eli Simmons, who had been allegedly forensically linked to 16 shootings starting at age 15. Law enforcement responded with sweeping grand jury indictments. A February 2025 crackdown charged 12 Senders/CRG members for shooting at least 31 victims, and a March 2026 expansion of that indictment expanding it to 21 defendants.
Second time in 3 weeks, the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office announced sweeping arrests in connection to violent crimes across the city dating back to 2022.
It is going to make it easier for kids to play in the street and grandparents to sit on their porches.
We're told many of the crimes happened in South Philadelphia between 4 feuding gangs. Today, 21 people were charged in connection with shootings, carjackings, and a homicide. Police say many of the suspects were already in custody after being indicted last year.
The continued investigations of those initial shootings, which were committed in back-and-forth retaliation, revealed other targeted shootings.
We learned police made 2 arrests in connection with the murder of Aquil Foster here on the 600 block of Rittner Street in June of 2022. Arrests were also made in this triple shooting on South 22nd Street in April of 2023, and this triple shooting on the 600 block of Oregon Avenue a month later, where a couple was caught in the crossfire.
I hope those that picked up the
one in March 2026 included the murder of Aquil Foster. Then, of course, we have the horror that was the 4th of July weekend 2025 shooting on Edding Street, which, in a twisted fate of horror, was honoring the memory of people who had fallen in the last few years from that exact block. The shooting left 4 dead and 10 wounded.
Police released new pictures of several suspects wanted for last week's mass shooting in Grays Ferry. They are offering a $20,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest. A ring camera captured the gunfire on South Edding Street on July 7th. Police say 3 people were killed and 9 others were injured. All of the victims are between 15 and 24. If you recognize the
Oskino Vasquez, a legendary Philadelphia rapper who gained fame after being signed to Rockefeller Records by Jay-Z in 1999 as part of state property. Oskino had a highly complex and emotionally charged relationship with his son, Muji. Their story is one marked by paternity secrets, the devastating impact of Philadelphia's streets, and a bitter public feud, and ultimately, hopefully, a heartfelt reconciliation. Muji's beginnings were complicated. Oskino met Muji's mom when he was only 19, and after a brief time, she became pregnant. However, according to Oskino, she blamed their son Muji on several other men. Muji was initially raised by a man named Bub in the Tasker Projects.
She blamed it on some guy from West Park that died on the motorcycle. Then she blamed him on Bub from 31st and Tasker, right? This is the guys, just the people I know, right? These are facts. There's no. So Muji over there, Bub, the last guy, Bub from 31st and Tasker, is where Muji ended up living at. I mean, so one day I'm in prison, right? I'm going 11 to 23 months. And my lawyer like, you got a warrant from child support. I said, warrant? Child support? Come to find out, it's Muji's mom. I don't say her name. Muji's mom, when they get welfare, and they take you to court for child support, I guess she blamed. So after she took me to court for child support, I would pay it, whatever, before I even took the test, right? So the reason why Bub found out it wasn't his, because Bub's mother took a DNA test behind Bub's back.
It wasn't until Muji was around 8 years old that Bub's mom secretly took a DNA test, revealing that Bub was not the father. Oskino was subsequently taken to court for child support while he was in prison and took a DNA test, which confirmed he was in fact Muji's biological father. Oskino, according to himself, stepped up, driving down to Tasker to see Muji, who he felt like he didn't know at all. Oskino said he tried to integrate Muji into his life, taking him on trips to the Poconos and securing him a summer job at the Made in America Festival.
Never took us out of town, nothing like that. Muji and 2 of my other sons to the Poconos for a weekend, right? On our way back from the Poconos to Philly, he said, Dad, can you drop me off for 31st and Tasker? I want to wash some clothes or dry some clothes, something like that. I said, you sure, man? All right, I'm going to drop you off. Because I think he was staying there with his mom sometimes. I don't know what the living situation was, but I dropped him off 31st and Tasker. 40 minutes later, they called me like, oh, your son just got locked up. Yeah, boy, they say he was clapping at somebody and the law saw him and booked him.
However, Muji felt disconnected. As a child, he viewed Oskino as a famous figure rather than a consistent father figure who was there for important milestones like his football championships, etc. Instead, Muji leaned on Bub and the other older man, Kev, as his primary male role models. Muji later reflected that he might have been a little bit too stubborn and should have bonded with his father. Growing up in the 31st and Tasker projects placed Muji directly in the middle of a deadly gang war against 27th Street. Oskino lamented that Muji's mom, raising him in that specific neighborhood, automatically made him a target no matter what. Muji became deeply involved in the streets, spending time in juvenile facilities like Lynn Mills by the time he was 16. In March 2019, when Muji was just 20, he was swept up in a grand jury indictment targeting Tasker Street and 27th Street members. Facing overwhelming evidence, including 800 pages of testimony and cooperation from Nassim Smiley Smith, Muji accepted a plea deal in late 2021 to avoid a life sentence. With Oskino helping him get high-profile defense attorney Tariq Shabazz, Muji was sentenced to 20 to 40 years in state prison. While incarcerated, Muji did an interview with a platform called Philly Fame TV, where he spoke candidly about his father. Muji stated that Oskino was broken and didn't know how to be a dad and wasn't there for him when it mattered most. Oskino was deeply hurt and furious by these remarks, feeling that Muji was acting entitled and ungrateful. Oskino took to YouTube in a series of rants, calling the interview he did with Johnny Mac a betrayal. Despite the harsh words exchanged, the bonds between the father and son ultimately prevailed. In early 2026, Oskino announced that he and Muji had finally spoken and worked through their issues. Oskino told Muji, "No matter what, I love you," to which Muji replied that it was all he ever wanted to hear. During a live phone call from prison on the Tales from the Jails podcast, the two publicly demonstrated their reconciled relationship. Oskino reflected that their conflict forced them both to grow and that they are now closer than ever. Showing the depth of his renewed support, Oskino stated that if he could, he would gladly serve half of Muji's 20 to 40 year sentence for him.
So like,
where jail he at?
Yeah, he just got moved to Chester.
Oh, okay.
But what jails you been at so far since you been booked?
You know, I came through. I stopped at Phoenix. Went to Kidville there for a while. Smithfield. I came out here with the Rockville. I never met Chester.
And he said he got 7 in?
Yeah.
Ask him if he can explain to us his mind state now, like before going in and now being in there.
You hear Muji?
I don't think you hear it.
He said, what's the difference? What's your mind frame? The difference in your mind frame from when you went in there until how you feel now?
You know, a lot of it, like before I got in this joint, like, you know, like I feel like I was like the roughest and the toughest, the baddest, you mean, and like nobody could really do nothing. I had all the answers. But now I'm doing time, going through trial, tribulation, and error. I see that, like, I got rid of my pride. I don't got pride with accent. Like, a pride with, like, you know, like, I took away, like, the arrogant and the nonchalant, took that stuff away. And it helped me, like, prevail and grow, you mean? So I definitely grew up in this show.
Actually, what was the hardest transition for him to make? I mean, I know prison is a tough transition, but what was the hardest adjustment he had to make being behind that wall?
He said, what's the hardest transition you had being in prison?
Knowing that it's the way, knowing that it's the way out, but you can't figure out how to do it.
Wow.
Because it's like, you know, you be like, you know, a lot of stuff they did was like wrong or stuff that was like illegal, whatever the case may be, and you can't articulate it. That was like the hardest transition, like, cause it's like, I feel as though sometimes I'm feeling like I'm the inmate of prison, whatever you want to leave, you feel what I'm saying?
Right.
You feel me? I'm just in this joint, like, you mean?
I'm gonna tell you something though, like, from being a father, right?
Yeah.
So no matter what you say or admit, even if you wasn't directly, you always feel like you could have did something different or it's your fault.
Yeah.
I mean, and then me and my son was beefing. He in jail. We can't even beef right because I can't talk to him that much.
Mm-hmm.
But since Muji, when we make up, Muji?
Like, before I came down, I've been down here for what, like almost 6 months. So I'm gonna say probably like end of February, March, like somewhere during Ramadan, something like that, like before Ramadan, like March-ish.
So, but now, like, bro, mind you, we've been tight. Mind you, on the streets, we ain't had no beef at all. We was tight. I mean, but it made us both grow as a father and son.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, the way we love each other now, it make it bittersweet because now when she was home, because we could be doing so many things.
Ja Fetty is a 27th Street rapper who felt compelled to, quote, carry the torch after the death of his old head, King Lord. A major turning point in his life occurred at just age 15 when he lost his best friend to gun violence. right after scoring 33 points in a high school basketball game, sending him into a depression and prompting him to abandon the sport. He began taking his music a little bit more serious around 2020 after the pandemic and spending time in juvenile and county jails. Regarding his style, Jaffetti explicitly states that he hates drill music. Instead, he describes himself as more of a pain artist who focuses on melodies, storytelling, and sharing his real-life struggles. He intentionally avoids featuring guns in his music videos to prevent police scrutiny, even though he gets it anyway.
I got booked I got booked, bro. When I got booked, I smacked out my V, right? I smacked out. I go to the hospital, bro. The cop come in the hospital playing murder.
Oh, shit. While you was in the hospital bed.
I'm in the hospital bed. Wallahi, the cop came to the hospital and started playing murder.
Yeah.
I'm like, turn that shit the fuck off. He like, I like the music.
Ain't nobody had say shit when shots was flying past my head. But everybody want call when I start spinning niggas been. Pulled out in that shit that hurt my heart, but we gon' stand on business. I told Loco he need to calm down, but he don't never listen. Got niggas turned up just like a ceiling fan, he keep on spinning. Murder, the city screaming murder.
YD is the son of Philly rapper Beanie Sigel from back Tasker Projects. Growing up, his father was frequently in and out of jail, as we all know, meaning YD was primarily raised by his mom and his sister's father. He became active in the streets around the age of 15 and spent time in juvenile facilities like Glen Mills. A major turning point occurred when his car was shot up at a Chick-fil-A while his younger sister was inside. To hear him tell it, after that incident, he abandoned sports for the streets. While Beanie Sigel supports his son's music, he warns YD about the pressure of trying to fill his shoes, though YD is determined to carve his own path, he said. December 19th, 2017, Nasir Livingston is shot inside of the Chinese store at the corner of 27th and Dickinson. That corner itself is the main hub of one side of this years-long feud that till this day is still claiming victims. As shots were fired into the store, Lil Nah, or Newski the Goat, who was a junior at South Philly High at the time, was hit once in the head and died 3 days later at Penn Presbyterian. This 2019 article about the Attorney General's office and its indictment of the two groups laid out what was happening around that time. Nasir, or Lil Nah, was from 26th Street, right by Dickinson. The guys all hung out inside and near the Chinese store, like I said earlier, right on 27th and Dickinson. For years, people like King Lord, Lil Mir, Teddy Two Sev, Shiz, Qua, Cheeky, Jaffetti, and others were the main rappers for the 27th Street side. Beanie Siegel's son, YD, Paris, Qua, KT, and others represented Tasker in this beef. Around 2016 is when you started to see a few of the people I just mentioned. While rappers Wooside Lil Nah, Wooside Hami, and others represented Wilson Park, who, for the purposes of this video, will be affiliated with 27th Street. It wasn't always like that though. During the 80s and through probably the early 2000s, earlier iterations of the conflict were driven by groups like the Young Guns, who operated out of Tasker and were aligned with Wilson Projects, together establishing a back and forth with 27th Street and the old Pass Young Projects. Philadelphia has a rich history of producing some of the most influential and celebrated black singers and athletes in the world. Before drill rap, Philly was known as the Mecca for lyricists. But beyond rap, the influence that artists and entertainers from Philly have had on the culture in this country is a stark contrast to the controversy the city presents today. Philly's always been a powerhouse for culture, from legends like Marian Anderson, Patti LaBelle, and the Roots, to icons like Will Smith, and the city's music game is unmatched. It's the same story in sports. Wilt Chamberlain, Kobe Bryant, and Joe Frazier are just a few who put Philly on the map. But honestly, the city's vibe today is a world away from that rich legacy. A lot of times we talk about the members of the group that crash out or make stupid mistakes and decisions early in life that ruined their entire life. Sometimes, however, the violence is more random than that. Hundreds of innocent victims get shot or worse, killed in these reckless gang shootings. Jawan Want Mason stood as a notable community role model who was trying to better his path through life through the means of higher education to avoid South Philadelphia's ruthless streets. Want was raised in Tasker and became a prominent basketball player at Alton Reed High. He became the first member of his family to graduate from college, earning a degree in criminal justice from Bloomberg University before working as a youth counselor for Job Corps. Despite his efforts to build a new life as an entrepreneur in Miami, Want's journey was cut short during a brief return to his old neighborhood. On the afternoon of October 5th, 2020, while standing on the 1800 block of Carlisle Street, the 27-year-old was fatally shot in a drive-by.
Authorities are investigating a deadly shooting in Grays Ferry. It happened this afternoon on Corley Street. A 27-year-old man was shot 3 times in the head. He later died at the hospital, and police have not made any arrests.
Both his family and law enforcement emphasized that he was an innocent victim with no ties to gangs or street activity. Want's unfortunate passing came less than 24 hours after YD, Beanie Sigel's son, released a song called FT7 or Fuck the 7, which is 27th Street. Years before Want, it was Azir Brown, a 16-year-old who was reportedly innocent, his only crime being enjoying a family barbecue on the wrong block. This being from so long ago, that's a little bit harder to confirm than Want. On July 3rd, 2016, 16-year-old Azir Brown was at a family 4th of July barbecue on South 31st Street when a dark car pulled into the alley. Shooters fired 19 rounds through a fence, hitting Brown in the back. He was rushed to the hospital but died the next morning. Police linked the drive-by to the local beef with 27th Street and Wilson Park. Even though the news described him as innocent, family members tried to indicate that the shooting was likely fueled by a minor dispute that escalated rapidly over social media.
Police have identified the 16-year-old who was shot and killed while attending a cookout in the Grays Ferry neighborhood late last night. Azir Brown was hit in the back during a drive-by shooting, and police say he was not the intended target. Action News reporter Annie McCormick has more on the investigation.
And according to police, the shooting happened at the end of a holiday barbecue. The teenager that was hit and killed, police do not think was the intended target.
Police say it was here in this backyard around midnight. A drive-by shooting interrupted a holiday barbecue. 16-year-old Azir Brown was hit once in the back. A short time later, doctors at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia pronounced him dead. The shooter littered this back alley with gunfire in the 1800 block of South 31st Street. Police found about a half-dozen shell casings on the ground, and you can see here on this home where the bullets shattered glass and riddled the siding and doors.
He was a great football player. Great basketball player. Always had a smile on his face.
Coach Joseph Rose started coaching the 16-year-old in football and basketball several years ago. Brown was playing point guard in a summer league with a game set for next week.
Always played his hardest. Worked for his teammates. Never gave up. And actually he was playing my future league and also with my seniors. That's how good he was.
Police are still looking for the shooter and are reviewing real-time cameras in the area. The barbecue was a family affair. After the shooting, several family members and witnesses went to homicide overnight to be interviewed.
And police say they only have a vague description of the vehicle. They say it was either a gray or dark colored car. If you have any information, you are urged to contact Philadelphia police. Reporting.
An article by The Trace noted that Brown didn't even live in the immediate neighborhood. He resided in North Philly, but frequently visited his aunt and played as a wide receiver and safety for the South Philly Hurricanes. Coaches and relatives maintained that he was an innocent bystander, entirely uninvolved in the streets, like I said. The 2016 murder of Azir Brown set a grim precedent for the era of social media taunting and violence that would fully consume the Grays Ferry neighborhood in the subsequent years, eventually leading to the 2019 and 2021 task force crackdowns we previously talked about. Azir's murder officially remains unsolved. On the night of the murder of Rasul Benson by Lil Sue and Nunu, Nasim Smiley Smith was at his cousin's house along with Fourth Quarter. See, not only did Smiley tell on Lil Sue and Nuno, but he ended up telling on basically everybody. He told on Fourth Quarter about shootings that happened in 2016. Another one, I think it was January 2020. He told on Markel, he told on Hanif, he told on everybody. Lil Sue, immediately after the gas station shooting, Lil Sue, Nuno, Lid, and Markel got to Smiley's cousin's house. Lil Sue confessed to the group that he had just ridden through Wilson Park and spotted someone named Jameer pumping gas. They all got in the car and drove around to try to target him, but when they got there, they found that Jameer had already left. However, they just started shooting at anybody who was out there, and they ended up catching some Wilson Park young boys. During the chaos, Lil Sue admitted that he chased Nasim's little brother and realized he had dropped his phone at the scene. To corroborate what Smiley had told police, at trial, prosecutors used cell phone tower data to confirm Smiley's phone was indeed at his cousin's address during that exact time frame. Also, investigators intercepted a prison phone call 10 days later with Fourth Quarter, who was talking to Lil Sue about how he dropped his phone at the scene, and Fourth Quarter was advising him to swap his gun out. Smiley told investigators that Lid had a PPX9 handgun during the murder of Rasul Benson. He also previously used that handgun in an August 2018 triple shooting, another shooting that Smiley told on. This shooting on Marston Street in 2018, prosecutors were able to match up ballistics between the two crime scenes. A firearms expert said that they matched the casings recovered from the Marston Street shooting and the casings recovered from the gas station shooting. Smiley did everything basically detectives asked him to do, like mapping out the gang's rosters, breaking down their daily routine, implicating as many people in as many shootings as he could, deciphering captions on Instagram posts, who's in what music video, and he visually identified almost everybody in the gang for authorities. He then implicated these men in what the court described as an organized campaign of violence spanning from October 2017 to July 2020. Nasim Smiley Smith explained the gang's common scheme. Members would share weapons, pile in the stolen cars, and drive through 27th Street and Wilson Park to hunt down and shoot at the opposition. For example, he placed Eric Woodard or E. Curry in a lookout vehicle with him during the August 18 triple shooting on Marston Street that I was just talking about. He placed Fourth Quarter there as well. In total, Smiley's insider knowledge linked this specific group, Tasker, to shootings that targeted 19 different people. About the Marston Street shooting, particularly, Smiley said that he was in a black car in front of the silver Buick Verano, which committed the shooting. A detective testified that he initially did not know about this black car's involvement at all, and he was able to confirm its presence after going back and looking at the footage again. Smiley said he was in a black car with E. Curry and E. Curry's girl. He also told him that Aquil Aguilar or Quill the Bully and Lid were the shooters in that particular situation. Cell Tower Records again confirmed his story. Quill the Bully or Aquil Aguilar was mentioned earlier as one of the people that Smiley was trying to tell on. However, on the afternoon of March 29, 2020, a day that saw a rapid succession of gun violence in other sections of the city, ultimately claimed the life of 22-year-old Quill the Bully. The sequence of events began just across the Schuylkill River in the Cedar Park section of West Philadelphia. According to reporting from CBS Philly, at 4:24 p.m., officers went to the 4700 block of Paschal Avenue. They discovered Aquil in the back of a gray 2019 Hyundai Elantra, shot multiple times. Police quickly placed him in their patrol car and rushed him to Penn Presbyterian, where he succumbed to his injuries later that afternoon. Aquil Aguilar's death was cataloged by the Philadelphia Obituary Project, who stated that he was an alumnus of the Power Corps PHL, a city workforce development program.
Bully acting crazy, caught a Uber, got him dropped. Gotta pay attention when you beefing, it's a lot.
Leaf Ward, who I briefly mentioned earlier, is a prominent Philadelphia drill rapper whose music effectively became the soundtrack to the 27th versus 31st and Tasker Street war. He became close friends with Muji and Lid and others from back Tasker. When Muji and Lid were incarcerated for the murder of Newski, Leaf Ward used his platform to show love. His involvement in the story is largely musical, although rumors of more persist. Throughout 2022 and 2023, he released a constant stream of singles, such as Trying to Shoot, Hurt, and Shots Let Off.
Beef with, cause I can get the drop from the same bitch you sleep with. We ignore the sneak this, cause they don't want us in them V's. Niggas know we known to kill a whole block like a disease. That's he throw the shit. Them dead niggas was bold as shit. Don't get cold, wash your clothes and shit. They might fold your ass. We bury ops like we tryna grow his ass.
These songs were aimed directly at 27th Street and their deceased members like King Lord and SB. Khalil Ali Simmons, known as King Lord, was fatally shot on Tuesday, March 31st, 2020. Police from the 39th District found the 28-year-old on the 3500 block of Indian Queen Lane with multiple gunshot wounds to his back. He died at Temple University Hospital later that morning. Funeral arrangements were handled immediately, and just 3 days later, on April 4th, 2020, he was buried at the Whitechapel Memorial Park. King Lord's homicide remains an open case.
We bed, keep a gun on the side of a bed at a crib, say a man ain't home, but a kid's still there. I'm like, fuck it is what it is, fixed. I'm a high commodity, bitch don't never lie to me. Glizzy right beside me, don't mistake me for no robbery. She said that I'm paranoid, this the way I gotta be. Death is all that promise, anything else is a problem. Keep back in the mountains, Mare went back too. They killed my homie, I spent back through. They killed that nigga back, cause it's either that or they subtract Joe. They turned my homie to a statue. 40 to like, that shit ain't right, that ain't even part of the statue. A limitations if I like my heart disintegrating. This shit is cycle, everything we do we imitate.
Fighting for his life after he was shot multiple times in East Falls. Eyewitness News found this car all shot up along the 3500 block of Indian Queen Lane. Police say they found 30 spent shell casings at the scene. They've also recovered a gun and say the victim may have returned fire. Well, looking at the...
Philadelphia's violence isn't a coincidence. It's a result of decades of systematic neglect. Back in the 30s, it was redlining, cutting off black neighborhoods from investment, trapping them in cycles of disinvestment and economic hardship. This history helped create the exact conditions that fuel today's turf wars. On top of that, these areas lack real support for trauma or treatment, forcing young people to handle life-altering stress and PTSD on their own. Or even worse, it's handled by the criminal justice system. Instead of help, the system mostly just reacts with arrests, while clearance rates stay low and the cycle continues. Since 2015, the data shows the struggle hits black residents the hardest, with 80% of the shooting victims and arrests coming from these same few historically redlined blocks. It's a clear pipeline from the past policy to today's reality. The fatal shooting of 28-year-old Shawn Best happened on the evening of Thursday, July 16th, 2020. According to local reporting, Shawn Best, or SB, was inside a laundromat located on the 1000 block of South 49th near the intersection right there on 49th and Chester. At approximately 6:30, while the business was occupied by roughly 10 other people, SB was reportedly with his 2 children when 3 unidentified gunmen wearing surgical masks and gloves entered the establishment and opened fire. SB suffered multiple gunshot wounds and was rushed to the hospital of the University of Pennsylvania, where he was pronounced dead at 6:56 p.m. The suspects immediately fled the scene in a silver SUV. The brazen nature of the attack prompted the Philadelphia police to publicly release surveillance from inside the laundromat. In April 2021, the Gun Violence Task Force, or GVTF, arrested 9 people linked to the retaliatory shootings. Muji got booked, Led got booked, a girl named Markeisha Hines got booked for trying to lure Tasker Street members to North Philly so 27th Street members allegedly could get back for Newski. Nasir Evans, Montez Burke, Alexis Hodge, and Galvin Morrison all pled out, but I think Morrison's back doing some time for something else right now, I believe. Nassim Smith was able to plead down to a 5 to 10, I believe, for his cooperation. As we all know, Lil Sue got smacked with a 45 to 90. Muji and Lid got
This is one of the places where violence erupted in the Grays Ferry neighborhood, ultimately taking the life of a teenager last year.
This one occurrence speaks to the level of entrenched generational crime this neighborhood experiences.
Authorities say that shooting and one that followed were part of a pattern of retaliatory violence between two rival groups known as 27th Street and 31st Street. Today, law enforcement arrested 8 people.
We are all safer because they are in custody.
The roundup announced today by Pennsylvania's Attorney General as part of a gun violence task force that includes his office along with Philadelphia Police and the District Attorney's office. They worked here out of the Delaware Valley Operations Center, and the operation also recovered 5 guns, including one believed to be what DA Larry Krasner called an 80% gun that can be bought in pieces.
It's only a violation of state law when the pieces are put together and you have an operable weapon. This is ridiculous. We cannot have a world where people with criminal records can buy all the parts of a gun and have no background check, can take it home, can assemble it with very, very minor modifications and use it.
Krasner wants laws changed to prevent that.
back in 2021. During that single announcement, officials were able to group SB's murder that happened in West Philadelphia back together to the South Philly homicides, thanks to the cooperation of Smiley. Smiley said that him, Fourth Quarter, and Eric Woodard, and one other person, after getting a tip that he was there.
Hearing emotional words from the heartbroken grandmother of a 15-year-old boy who was one of the 7 people killed in a 24-hour period in Philadelphia. I'm Jason Martinez, our Kelly Rule live in Roxborough, where you spoke to that grandmother. Kelly?
Jason, I did. Darius Winter's family tells me they are just devastated and lost over this. This impacts not only their family, but the Roxborough High School family as well. And they join so many others grieving tonight, as Darius is one of 62 homicide victims this year alone in Philadelphia.
You know, I just miss him so much.
15-year-old Darius Winter's grandmother says he was her mate, always there to help her, and she never imagined that time together would be cut short.
He liked to tell jokes and do little stupid dances. He kept me cheered up.
They just are not bad kids. They're not.
Family friend Star McMillian says Darius was doing nothing more than simply sitting outside her home along Morris Street in South Philadelphia with his cousin and her son Monday night when someone pulled up and opened fire. The Roxborough High School art-loving sophomore was the only one shot, and he didn't survive.
Honestly, we believe this is a case of mistaken identity at this point in time.
Darius was one of 7 people shot and killed in only a 24-hour span in Philadelphia Monday. In a press conference with Police Commissioner Danielle Outlaw Tuesday, we asked what are they doing right now to ensure this never happens again. Commissioner Outlaw says their biggest obstacles are more people inside and at home because of the pandemic, repeat offenders, and witnesses not coming forward. She says they have restructured their homicide unit, have a new police district in Kensington as drugs are driving a number of the shootings, and they're bolstering the use of social media in investigations. She says they are trying to learn from 2020, but says the process is grueling and frustrating.
Before yesterday, we were able to proudly say that we had a significant reduction week to week in our shootings and homicides. And then yesterday happened, and look where we are today.
If your life is just so low that you think taking somebody else's life is some kind of badge of honor, it's not. You know, it's not.
Now, Roxborough High School staff tell me they will have virtual counseling available tomorrow and Thursday for anyone who needs it. Police did say today they identified a suspect and have another in custody for 2 of the murders yesterday, but not for Darius's case. So anybody with information is asked to come forward. Jason?
Another seemingly innocent person to lose his life was 15-year-old Darius Winters, that occurred on the evening of Monday, February 8th, 2021.
A deadly shooting in South Philadelphia. A man and a woman have been shot. The man has been killed. This happened just after midnight along Winton Terrace off of 76. The woman was shot in the leg, and so far she's stable. No arrests.
In January of 2022, Shiz and Teddy 2Sev released the track Get Back.
Hey. Okay. Okay.
We try to spin and knock a nigga on his cat. Hiatus a clan and he never coming back.
Later that month, a young man named Makai Ingram would be killed on June Street. He was killed by Tahir Rowe. A 15-year-old named Eli Simmons would begin his year-long shooting spree. In the last few days of January and the first few days of February alone, he's accused of 3 separate shootings, one all the way up in North Philly. During the end of that same February month, Job Fetty and Deke Loco dropped a video for victims. All throughout 2022, Paris, Teddy Two Sev, Lil Mirror, Deke Loco, Job Fetty, everybody was releasing music that was out. Like the June 12th track between Lil Mirror and Deke Loco called Booted Up, shot on the same Edding Street.
Suited and I'm booted up. Tell bro, turn me up. How about flying switches, nigga, when we swerving up?
That would become the main focus of the whole city a few years later. Then came later that June and the tragic murder of 18-year-old Aquil Foster, which occurred on the night of Tuesday, June 21st, 2022. According to 6ABC, Aquil was riding as a passenger in a vehicle driven by his brother, Honcho, along the 600 block of Rittner Street in South Philly. At approximately 11:45, the vehicle was targeted by shooters. CSI recovered 9mm shell casings from the street. Quill was struck during the ambush and rushed to the hospital. He was pronounced dead early the next morning at 1:18. His brother managed to survive the incident. Quill's murder went unsolved for years until it became a major piece of the 2021 indictment. On March 19, 2026, the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office announced major grand jury charges against 21 defendants affiliated with what they call local street factions, specifically highlighting the Senders and the Close Range Gang. Prosecutors said they used digital forensics. They used extensive digital forensics, including social media posts and drill videos where suspects would brag about their victims. The office also stated that these groups were responsible for shootings and robberies between January 2022 and August of 2023, which resulted in 32 total victims, including Aquil Foster, like I just said. In July of 2022, a month after Quill's death, Deke Loco released a music video for the song called Caskets. In November later that year, Job Fetty continued releasing music with the track Murder. All these songs would be fuel to the fire that was already raging.
Like a seesaw, once you think you going up, you get put down. I've been in my bag, they told me chill, but I cannot. They say, look, don't go on drugs, but I keep spinning blocks. They say, look, you hogging on them drugs, but let somebody else blink. Chase him down, you run, I miss. Up that pound, they got some kick. Bell out dip, take off and drift. 223's gon' flip they whip. I hold a grudge with all our hospital, take a ride, let's buckle up. I made a promise, kill all lives, I gotta play, let's huddle up.
You ain't know, every time he slide, them boys don't miss nothing. There you go, think that he's skating, oh, that's the switch jumping.
Chase him down, they like low coming. On his heels, know why he running. From the 7, how I'm bumming. We don't step, they know we stumping. She see me, she like he stunting. Her friend like that's low-key something. One thing, that boy go for nothing. I play his song, that shit be dumping. And he hard, he hop out bucking. How you know he my cousin?
3 Command. 33rd District units still holding the scene for the homicide at 17th and Christian.
It's the shots heard around Graduate Hospital. This family with a stroller seen running for cover. The target of the bullets, an 18-year-old. Police say was walking down the street with at least 5 other people, including a youth counselor. The teen ambushed at the intersection of 17th and Christian Streets just after 7 p.m.
27th Street had lost a lot of people to these wars. The ops are already trolling and dissing on Instagram. And I'm sure songs and more disrespect are coming towards the friends and family of Loke.
Fat.
Yeah, clapper, nigga.
Clapper's live in the fact.
You know, beyond big
I know you may die, need to get that shit together. We rushed it to the drop, I threw a drill with an umbrella.
and Zaki had holes all in his lungs. Zeke was bleeding on the ground while you outside without your gun. Yeah, your Vic got hit below the waist, but he still caught a shell. He switched sides, now that shit up. Don't let me bump in the cuz rail. I heard Dick tried to bleed dead. I wish I seen how me man fell. Dick cash out on the chain instead of paying Goonie Bell. I'm here like 16, pipe it down, little bro. These hollows hot as hell. In that 17, a hole inside my beater. Dumbass was in the wrong place, his dumbass got deleted. Double S, it ain't alright, but I still smoke him, I be chiefin'.
One join the senders, get a body, then you gang with us.
We'll try hop out, get away. Deke put me in that song, that little nigga did wrong. We was spinning on the 7 all fucking day long. Hair doing all like trolling, but he hide.
Finally fire on both sides, the south went down, they shot a front. You the creator of them pics, got up on them with a 10, and you can ask about them senders. We the ones who shot your Ken, I heard the light skin boy was trolling, and they left him in that tent. Dropping 7s, fuck the 8, we cracking 4s. Dick was loafing in the cell, we had him crawling on the floor. He was trying to play both sides, and then he walked into that door. He posted niggas why they did, tell that rapper drop it big.
Tonight, an 18-year-old has died after an ambush shooting took place in South Philadelphia. He was murdered just steps away from the Christian Street YMCA along the 900 block of 17th Street. Action News reporter Sharifa Jackson live near that scene with an update. Sharifa, heartbreaking to report another shooting in the city of Philadelphia.
Right, Gray, and at this time, crime scene investigators, they're wrapping up. They have been here for hours at the scene where they say at least 20 shots were fired. Again, police, they're calling this a straight ambush. The victim walking along the sidewalk when 3 men unloaded a barrage of bullets, killing that 18-year-old. Police say this all happened within a matter of minutes and in broad daylight. As the shots heard around Graduate Hospital, this family with the stroller seen running for cover. The target of the bullets, an 18-year-old, police say was walking down the street with at least 5 other people, including a youth counselor. The teen ambushed at the intersection of 17th and Christian Streets just after 7 p.m. Police say the whole thing was captured on surveillance video.
3 males, shooters, were armed with guns, one with what appeared to be a high-powered rifle and 2 with handguns. All 3 fired at the decedent, striking him multiple times. It appears even after he was down that they continued firing.
Police say no one else was injured. A targeted shooting where investigators marked at least 30 evidence markers. Police say the 18-year-old died a short time later at the hospital.
Working out, I was about to do my next thing, and then one of the guys that worked, they just said, hey, we got to close up, there's an emergency, and then get home safe.
The shooting caused the abrupt closure of nearby YMCA and shocked neighbors as they returned home from work.
It's just very concerning. You don't ever think it's going to happen on your block, and sure enough, there's like this poor victim right outside my home.
Tonight, police are looking for the shooters who drove off in that Dodge Durango and the possible connection to another shooting a short time later on Napa Street. A home was shot 6 times. No one else was hurt.
It appears that similar types of rifle rounds were used there. Given the proximity of time and the proximity of locations, we're looking at and exploring the possibility that they may be connected in some way.
And the 5 or so people who were with the victim during the time of that shooting, they're being interviewed by police at this time, and investigators, they're working to find a motive and also figure out why this 18-year-old was targeted. Gray?
Okay, Sharifa, thank you for the update there. There is
a 33 and a 57-year-old will lose their life in Wilson Park Apartments on June 8, 2022. This tragic, pointless murder is unsolved till this day. Monday, December 5th, 2022, serves as another chapter of extraordinary violence in the city of Philadelphia. Philly, YBC will lose one of its main members in J100. Across town in South Philly, 27th Street will lose one of their main members in Teddy Tuseb. As on Monday, December 5th, 2022, he was shot on the 2600 block of Wilder Street. Police arrived and discovered Zaki Carmichael, 19 years old, with 4 gunshot wounds. He was shot once in the stomach and 3 times in his right leg. They got him to the hospital quickly, but within 20 minutes, he was pronounced dead. Aquil Foster's brother, 19-year-old Kadir Strickland, also known as Honcho, was fatally shot again on the night of Wednesday, August 7th, 2024, all the way in North Philly, which is actually where he was from. According to Philadelphia police, officers from the 25th District responded to the 2800 block of North Park Ave at approximately 9:40 p.m., where they found Kadir laying unresponsive in the street, suffering from gunshot wounds. They scooped him up and took him to Temple University, but tragically, he succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced dead later that night. Like many of the incidents we have discussed thus far, his murder officially remains an open and unsolved case. Beyond the police reports and the street shit, Honcho is heavily documented as a young man who had a vibrant personality and a deep love of fashion, a close bond with his family, including his brother Aquil and his sister.
OG, you alright? You alright, OG?
We know at this hour 13 people were injured, including 12 of them who were shot.
What part of the body? The leg. Yeah, the female shot in the leg. We have a scene.
Police Commissioner Kevin Bethel shared officers had responded to this block on Saturday for what he called some issues, and it did result in arrests at the time.
We rushed it to the drop, I threw a drill with an umbrella. They asking where I'm at, I'm on the block, I'm with the felons. Strands, shit, the clap is up.
Big boss up. Hit to the draws. And I got Tweezy with me. And I got Beanie with me.
This is the new flyer shared by Philadelphia police overnight. Detectives are pointing out these 3 shooters.
Bro, they don't get no respect for that, bro. It's too many kids. Like, bro, come on, bro. Nigga, we on that block every day. Why nothing go down when there's not no cookout or no kids not out there?
Yo. Where you at? Where your block at? Where your block at?
This ring video is part of the police investigation. It shows the intense exchange of gunfire on the 1500 block of South Edding Street just before 1 a.m. Monday. In all, police say 12 people were shot. 3 of them died, including 19-year-old Jason Reese, 23-year-old Zahir Wiley, and 24-year-old Azir Harris.
About to smoke Zaza today.
Philadelphia has been known for its ruthless gun violence for years, but the city has made strides in reducing homicides. In 2024, the city recorded 269 homicides, down significantly from 2021 and the lowest since 2014. But the 4th of July weekend in 2025 was a splash of cold water to anyone who thought that the challenges didn't remain. Over the holiday, the city saw multiple horror scenes, including a shooting at a Southwest Philadelphia nightclub that injured 8 people and another in North Philly that left a 26-year-old dead. The shooting we're focused on in this video happened in South Philly and caught the nation's attention and was the deadliest of the weekend, described by police as cowardly.
There is a lot of video circulating online. I'm sure all of you have seen it.
This video circulating on social media is one piece of evidence Philadelphia police sources say they're using as part of the investigation into this morning's deadly mass shooting in Grays Ferry. It's one of 2 shooting incidents in South Philadelphia over the busy 4th of July holiday.
I think the girl who was laying on my step, she was like 15.
Police say 12 people between the ages of 15 and 24 were shot and 3 of them killed on the 1500 block of South Edding Street. The sound of gunfire caused Tiffany McDaniels to come outside her home.
It was very hard to, see. And the bullets hit my house. And just thanking God that, my son didn't get hit.
Commissioner Kevin Bethel says officers were patrolling the area after getting reports of large gatherings and loud music and were nearby when they heard the gunshots.
It's pretty much a horrific scene. We do know, based on what we're seeing so far, almost 140 pieces of ballistic evidence has been recovered. We definitely believe, based on our observation, a gun with a switch was involved, which we've talked about has been a significant issue.
Grays Ferry is a tight-knit residential area in South Philly, but like many neglected neighborhoods, violence persists. The block where the shooting happened had been a hotspot for parties all weekend, with loud music and large crowds drawing police attention multiple times. The night before the incident, members went on Instagram Live and taunted the ops for whatever reason.
Side with us. You should have been out here, nigga. I'm fucked up. I'm perked up, nigga. I'm drunk, nigga. I want everything. Liquor, everything. Look at Ro. Oh my God, white boy. Go get white boy. Nigga, we on live all day. Sarah, you ducking Rick, Sarah. You ducking Rick, Sarah. You ducking Rick, Sarah. I'm able to hit the toe, even the head. No. We put the burners on tires.
The cops came out and cut the crowd down considerably, but the festivities went well into Sunday morning. This would be the first of many mistakes. The very next day, they would post an Instagram story dropping the exact location of the event. This was probably the most reckless move one could make, that this is what draws the ops' attention. The police had already been there on Saturday, and Sunday night was no different. They came numerous times to break up the gathering. They eventually got it down to around 40 people and also got them to shut the music off.
Charlie, okay? We have multiple people shot.
32, I got one male shot in the left arm and scoop in the present.
32, okay?
And yeah, units out there responsible. I have a 17-year-old female in the back of 5 vehicles. She's also shot. Not 5 people in the back of my car trying to squeeze in here. I need help.
1712, you have 5 people in the back of your car?
I got people running on the block of Edding now.
Hey, we have people running on the Edding, 1500 Edding. 21 years.
We're all going to press. I have one male down in the back. I have another female down in the back. I have 2 people in the back that are conscious, but I don't think shot. Just trying to help the people that got in the car. Just to be clear, 2 gunshots in the back.
Stand 3, you have 2.
Is there anyone else out here?
17 stand 3.
Charlie, a 15-year-old female that I transported, she was shot once to the left hip. I've got a projectile.
Charlie, okay.
All right, can we just confirm the victims? We have 9 at Presby, 2 pronounced, and 3 at Chop with 1 pronounced there. Is that correct?
2 and 1. Roger, not 2.
Yes. A total of 12.
Just before 1 a.m. on Monday morning, July 7th, 2025, the 1500 block of South Edding Street became a scene of chaos. Over 100 rounds were fired. 3 young men, ages 19, 23, and 24, lost their lives. The 19-year-old Jason Reese was shot in the head. The 23-year-old Zahir Wiley was shot in the chest, and Azir Harris, 24, was shot in the back and were all pronounced dead by 2:16 a.m. 9 others were injured, including a 15-year-old girl, 2 17-year-old boys, and a 19-year-old man who was left in critical with 2 gunshot wounds to the head. Police recovered over 130 pieces of ballistics evidence, and doorbell camera captured terrified residents fleeing for cover behind porches and cars. Some news reported 10 injured, but one of the injured was reportedly injured running from the police. The outbreak of violence on the night of Saturday, July 22nd, 2023 is another prime example of how the ongoing war in public spaces endangers innocent residents. According to Fox 29, the incident occurred just after 9:30 p.m. right by Grays Ferry Park. Officers from the 17th District responded to the 3300 block of Reed Street after receiving multiple 911 calls reporting gunfire. When officers got there, they discovered 3 people had been shot. A 28-year-old man had been shot in the left hip. A 35-year-old man had been shot in both thighs, and a 32-year-old woman had been shot twice in the stomach. Rumors say that 28-year-old man was YD. Even the cops were a little surprised by the recklessness of this shooting, even by Philadelphia standards. Police Inspector D.F. Pace explained to the media that the park was filled with people enjoying the nice summer weather when at least 2 unidentified gunmen opened fire in the middle of the street. Tragically, the 32-year-old female victim was identified as an innocent bystander, obviously, but she also had special needs, who was just out there at the park trying to enjoy a nice day.
The search is on now for 2 suspects who police say shot and injured 3 people in Grays Ferry. Now, one of those victims we've learned is a woman with special needs, an innocent bystander. It all happened just after 9 last night near a park. Action News reporter Sharifa Jackson joining us now live from police headquarters with the latest on this. Sharifa?
And John, I can tell you that we are learning that all 3 people who are shot are expected to be okay. That is the good news, but still a lot of unanswered questions. Police, they are still looking for some witnesses and to learn more about what led up to this shooting. 12 hours after a shooting near Stinger Square Park, all is calm. A drastic difference compared to this scene Saturday night. Police first called to the area of 33rd and Reed Streets just after 9 p.m. 3 people were shot.
It appears that the shooting occurred right here in the middle of the street, not in the grassy area of where most of the people enjoying the park were congregated.
1 man was shot in the hip, another man shot twice, and a woman was also shot twice. Police believe that woman was an innocent bystander.
A 32-year-old female who appears to be a special needs person who was just enjoying the park, who was shot in the stomach.
All victims are stable. Now investigators turn their focus on finding a motive, working with limited information, but what they do know, ballistic evidence shows that there were at least 2 weapons. Police believe that means there were at least 2 shooters.
It's unclear what their motive was. It's unclear whether or not the shooters were shooting at each other and the gunshot victims are simply innocent bystanders, or whether any of those victims were targeted.
Investigators say in that area is a mix of residential and commercial buildings, so they are confident that there is some surveillance video that can shed light on what exactly happened.
The 4 deceased victims were Zahir Wiley, who was 23, Jason Reese, who was only 19, Azir Harris, who was 24, and who was already paralyzed from a prior gun violence incident, and then Zamir Satchel, who ended up dying months later in April of 2026. The 9 surviving victims ranged in age from 15 to 24, which included a 15-year-old girl, 2 17-year-old boys, and several other young adults. Police described the July 2025 Edding Street tragedy as a chaotic instance of, quote, contagious gunfire is what they're calling it. During a block party with nearly 200 attendees, an initial shot, possibly into the air, the police aren't even sure at this point, triggered widespread panic. At least a dozen people to draw their guns and fire indiscriminately into the crowd. The reactionary shooting left behind over 140 pieces of ballistic evidence from 13 to 15 different guns, including ones that were modified with illegal switches. Using social media and surveillance footage, police eventually arrested several suspects, including Terrell Frazier, Daquan Brown, Diev Jordan, Brandon Fisher, Christopher Battle, and Jihad Gray. Also, Zaki Carmichael. The contagious nature of the gunfire directly impacted the legal cases. In early 2026, a magisterial judge dismissed the criminal conspiracy and attempted murder charges against several of the men. He also dropped first-degree murder charges. He agreed with the defense attorneys that the rapid reactionary chaos meant that there was no prior agreement or targeted intent to kill, though they were still being held for third-degree murder and aggravated assault. I saw some reporting that the common pleas judge then changed it back to first-degree murder. Minutes before the July 2025 shooting on Edding, Terrell Frazier was broadcasting on Instagram Live. During a live stream, he read a threatening message from someone stating that they were going to come around the block and shoot it up, to which Rel openly dared them to come around.
It was like the switch flipped inside me, and I was just like, okay, why can't I function right now?
Bro, when you're in public spaces, you almost put civilians around you at risk.
It's like, it ain't safe for us or the that's it.
We got PTSD. Gamble, bro. We gamble every day, bro. Every day.
In 2024, the U.S. Surgeon General declared gun violence a public health emergency due to its devastating physical and psychological toll, with over 48,000 firearms-related deaths in 2022 alone. A growing body of research shows that exposure to gun violence, including being injured or witnessing a shooting, or simply living in affected communities, leads to high rates of anxiety, depression, panic attacks, and PTSD. Homicide by firearm is the leading cause of death among adolescents and young adults in the United States. Despite these alarming fatality rates, 71% of all wounded victims survive, and surprisingly, little is known about the long-term mental, behavioral, and social health effects of gunshot survivors.
Yo! Yo! Go on, Steve. Yo, first of all, I just got like a couple questions. You not paralyzed? Like the right side of your body, you not paralyzed? What's on, bro? Bro, you know what I'm on, bro. All your homies your friends killers are still here. They in this live right now, if I must say. Oh, nigga, your homies killers is in this live right now. Bro, y'all don't step. Y'all cookout just got shut up. All these innocent peoples and girls just got shot and died and shit. Y'all supposed to get busy about that shit. Y'all niggas not doing nothing. You on live with us. Nigga, you on live with stupid, nigga. I'm a rapper. I don't do nothing. So fuck that. You're on live when you should be going to bed. Fuck that. A YBC cookout never got shot. We didn't have cookouts all in the square, all down the bottom. Cookouts all down the bottom. We had 3 cookouts. Nigga, go kill somebody. Go push somebody. One of them girls that got shot. You had the old head Rodney ducking. My old head Rodney was out there, dickhead. Bro, you had Rodney out there ducking for his life. Dickhead. Rodney don't deserve that. Bro, but you act like that shit. Y'all niggas, like... I wish I ain't only want to say that, but I'm gonna say I wish Dude was here. Dude would have been cooking y'all. Dude would have been cooking y'all. Bro, you don't get what, Dude would have been cooking y'all, bro. It was a cookout with a whole bunch of kids out there, bro. Bro, and they blew that shit the fuck up, nigga. You know what you can and you can't do, being in the street. Y'all tried to be cute. Y'all, AGB.
Like our generation was the last generation of like going to high school and still worrying about fist fights. Like now, bro, you gotta go to school with a pipe. If not, bro, you're getting cooked. Bro, shit.
Evidence supports poor long-term health and social outcomes among the victims and their families. PTSD was most severe among those physically injured in those shootings, but even witnesses and community members reported high levels of distress. The long-term community-wide nature of trauma from gun violence is being called on for further study, but the data that we do have is alarming. Gunshot wound injuries are strongly associated with the development of PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder, affecting an estimated 49 to 60% of people shot within a year of the incident, a figure which is likely underestimated due to follow-up challenges involved in reporting these numbers. PTSD is particularly harmful for adolescents and young adults, ages 15 to 29, whose social, emotional, and cognitive development is still underway. PTSD manifests through intrusive memories, avoidance behaviors, sleep disturbances, concentration issues, and feelings of guilt, often resulting in harmful coping mechanisms like substance abuse and increased aggression. I'm more on edge now. I'm paranoid because I see him around town here and there. I'm always paranoid, especially because I got my kids and my wife is pregnant. I wake up dreaming. I dream a lot about it, said one victim who now suffered from PTSD as he told a study on the psychological effects of juvenile victims of gunshot wounds. The study also talks about how mental health follow-up was difficult for the victims, either due to lack of resources, laziness on the victim's part, or thinking they could power through it on their own. But often it comes down to victims of gunshot wounds who are affiliated with the streets often get right back in the mix. It's hard to be an angel surrounded by demons, another person told the study. Participants in the study who were shot notably expressed fervor for gun ownership, carriage, and use after the incidents. I bring this up not to try and act like the street is an academic subject that needs to be studied, but to show that PTSD in victims is real and shows itself or manifests in a number of ways. The other thing I noticed is that similar with soldiers and gang members is their numbness to violence. The state of mind that, quote, shit happens and innocent people might die. The same casual way we hear drill rappers talk about innocent people is the same rhetoric we hear from warmongers and soldiers alike who talk about civilians dying in combat. To be clear, the only comparison I'm making between foreign wars and the United States military and the people on the streets of Philly and their families in this specific video is the effects of PTSD. There are other parallels to draw on, but I want to put some of the victims of this tragedy and their families front and center.
Learning about one of the victims from that shooting, family members tell us Azir Harris died while he was at a cookout in Grays Ferry. The man was paralyzed after being shot back in 2018. He became an advocate against gun violence. NBC 10's Johnny Archer talked with his father.
Tonight, I spoke to the father of one of the victims killed. He tells me that his son was brought here to Penn Presbyterian where he underwent surgery, but unfortunately passed away. That father tells me that his son wanted to share his own story about being shot several years ago as well. He says his son was hoping that he would help others from becoming victims of gun violence themselves.
A barrage of gunfire and chaos erupting early Monday morning in the Grays Ferry section of Philadelphia. Police say 9 people were injured and 3 people were killed along the 1500 block of Edding Street. 24-year-old Azir Harris was one of those killed.
Taking him away took my whole family. We live it, but a piece of us is missing.
Azir's father and the rest of his family in disbelief. A family now grieving Azir's loss, who was also the father of a 1-year-old baby boy.
And my son was a great guy, giving, kind, everything. It's everything to me and my family. With the lights in my house, with the lights of our life. So sorry it got took away like this. Sorry.
Police say around 140 pieces of ballistic evidence were found on scene. Azir's father says his son was attending a cookout at a block party that turned deadly. Investigators have not said why shots were fired.
Why do y'all have to hurt so many families behind this? Carelessness, guns, and dying for a neighborhood that you don't own nothing in. It's just sad. There's no community growth.
In 2018, Azir was shot in another incident and paralyzed, leaving him in a wheelchair. His father says Azir wanted to share his story to help prevent others from becoming victims of gun violence.
When he seen a lot of his friends around him dying, and I told him, I said, "You're special, man. Tell everybody your story."
But Monday morning, Azir's story came to a tragic end. His family planning to carry on his message to help make Philadelphia a safer city.
These youths is just taking it to the extreme. They thinking killing each other is a game. You don't come back from that. It's not a game. You hurt families. You destroy lives. And I just want y'all to put the guns down, man. That's all I can say. Put the guns down, man.
Police have not made any arrests in this case, but they say they are reviewing surveillance cameras and they do have leads from information they do have so far.
Lil Sue and Newski, instead of taking a deal, decided to go to trial. They lost. The sentencing happened on Friday, October 6, 2023. And this was a big deal. In the Philadelphia Court of Common Pleas, the sentences handed down were harsh to the 2 then teenagers. 45 to 90 years of incarceration. And they've already lost an appeal. In their rulings, the courts explicitly noted that the gas station ambush was cold, calculated, and then bragged about. Muji and Led both pled guilty in their cases for the murder of Newski the Goat, so they got 20 to 40 years.
Continue on that pathway. But I need to put on notice now to anybody who is in these groups, thinking about being in these groups, or wanting to take the place of these groups. I gotta put you on notice now. Maybe they used to be scared when they heard P&B. Well, now you're known as processed and booked. Maybe people used to get nervous when they heard senders. Well, now you've been sent upstate. Some people talked about close range gang, or CRG. It's more like the close walls gang at this point, because by the time you get in the cell, it's gonna feel pretty close. And unfortunately, that is what you have earned, and that is what we all need. And as for 7th Street, or as I like to call them, the unlucky 7, as for 7th Street, let's just say 7th Street's gonna be a whole lot more peaceful without the unlucky 7.
The mass shooting on the 1500 block of Edding Street is one of the most devastating and chaotic incidents in the recent history of Philadelphia. The violence is unprecedented in terms of the amount of trauma this is going to cause the block of Edding Street itself, and the neighborhood as a whole for years to come. There's a lot of lessons to be learned here, but number one is that the streets are alive. These young men were told they had no choice, and they had to shoot to survive. Now, Muji will tell you every Monday that none of it was worth it, and how he would give anything to take back some of the decisions he made out here on the street foolishly. Thank you for being patient with me. As you see, I've been working very hard. The YBC vs. CCK documentary is probably 3 hours long, so I want you guys to just really be ready for that. Know that that's coming up. And then I think we're going to take a step back from drill, like I said, take it back from the gang wars and all that, and do some different content for a little bit. However, I'm going to leave it there for now. Thanks for watching American Confidential, and until next time, be safe.